Hello everyone, welcome to week 10 Spanish video lessons. We're going to go ahead and go over the ER and IR present tense. Last week we did the AR present tense conjugation, and then after we do the ER and IR present tense, we're going to follow up with the past tense. How do we conjugate AR, ER, and IR in the past tense? And these are all going to be commonly used verbs that I use for examples. Let's go ahead and get started. So here you're looking at a list of ER verbs. So these are the verbs that have the ER ending. We have comer, which is to eat, beber, which is to drink, leer, to read, aprender, to learn, comprender, to understand, or to comprehend. It kind of sounds like comprehend, comprender. Correr, to run, deber, to have to or to owe. Vender, to sell. Romper, to tear or to break. And responder, which is to answer or to respond. So you can pause this anytime or rewind it, try to repeat it after me, try to mimic the sound, etc. So let's take a look at the IR verbs here. We have vivir, to live, recibir, to receive, escribir, to write, abrir, to open, partir, to divide, decidir, to decide. So this list of ER and IR verbs here, these are the commonly used verbs. Of course, there are lots of more verbs out there. I just want you to get familiarized with these that I'm giving you here. So one thing I like about the ER and IR verbs are they have the same endings. So they share the same ending conjugation when it comes to present and past tense. So just like with the AR endings, you had the O that went with yo, the as that went with tú, a with él, ella, or usted, etc., amos, an. Here, for ER and IR verbs, it's almost the same thing except for it's with an E. So you have o, es, amos, or emos, and you have en. This is supposed to be a en, not an em. So please correct that if you're taking notes. The ellos, ellas, ustedes, that's supposed to be en, en, okay? Hemos, if it's an ER verb such as comer, which is comemos, and if it's an IR verb, it's going to pair with emos, which would be vivimos for the we form. That's the only thing that changes with the verbs. The rest of the endings stay the same. So here, look at this list of verbs. I broke these down, so we're going to go through these. So we have comer, which is to eat at the top left-hand corner. So let's break this down. We have como, I eat. Comes, you eat. Come, he or she eats. Comemos, we eat. Comen, they eat. So you see how the hemos part is going to pair up with comer because it's an ER verb. Okay? Up under we have comprender, to comprehend. Comprendo, I comprehend. Comprendes, you comprehend. Comprende, he or she comprehends. Comprendemos, we comprehend. Comprenden, they comprehend. So keep in mind when you are talking in Spanish and you want to say like she comprehends everything, you have to specify who the pronoun is. So you have to say ella comprende todo. You wouldn't just say comprende todo unless it's already known who the subject is or who we're talking about. For example, if we're sitting here talking about my mom through the whole conversation and I say, oh, sí, comprende mucho, it's already known I'm talking about she. She's the one that comprehends a lot. Other than that, if you're just starting off a sentence or starting off a conversation, you want to specify ella comprende mucho or él comprende mucho. He comprehends a lot. Okay? But you do not have to specify the pronoun with the other conjugations. So if you want to say comprendemos mucho, we comprehend a lot, that's fine. If you want to say nosotros comprendemos mucho, that's fine too, but you don't have to say nosotros, okay? So let's look down at correr, which is to run. Corro, I run. Corres, you run. Corre, he or she runs. Corremos, we run. Corren, they run. So up at the top, to the top right, you have vivir, which is to live. So you have vivo, I live. Vives, you live. Vive, he or she lives. Ella vive en Mexico. She lives in Mexico, right? Vivimos, we live. Viven, they live. Then you have escribir, to write. Escribo, I write. Escribes, you write. Escribe, he or she writes. Escribimos, we write. Escriben, they write. Last one, we have recibir, which is to receive. Recibo, I receive. Yo recibo mucho dinero. I receive a lot of money. Recibes, you receive. Recibe, he or she receives. Recibimos, reciben. Okay? We receive, they receive. So you see this pattern here? The ER and IR verbs have the same ending for present tense. So you have to get familiarized with how these endings work. Practice these in sentences. Let's take a look at these sentence examples on the right here. Vivo con mi familia. I live with my family. Vives con su padre. You live with your father. Ella vive con su hermana. She lives with her sister. Vivimos juntos. We live together. Viven en Nueva York. They live in New York. Up under you see, ¿comprendes inglés? Do you comprehend English? Comprendemos el idioma. We comprehend the language. Corres mucho. You run a lot. Comemos cada día. We eat every day. Corremos cada semana. We run every week or each week. So I do need you all to practice creating sentences like this using these conjugations with these ER and IR verbs, and still do the same with the AR verbs. And once you master the commonly used verbs, then you can move on to the other verbs out there. Practice with these each day. Now let's take a look at the comparison here. This is what I was talking about earlier. We have the AR, which is the O, as, a, amos, an ending. And then you have the ER, IR, O, S, E, emos, or emos, N ending. And this is the present tense ending conjugation, okay? So memorize this. It's easy once you just get used to this pattern, okay? Now let's go ahead and take a look at the past tense. So what do I mean by past tense? For example, if you say, I speak to my mom every day, that's present. I spoke with my mom yesterday, that's past. So let's go ahead and look at the endings for that. So this is the past tense chart. We have the AR, just like you see on the right hand side. You have the yo, and then you have tú, haste, nosotros, hamos, ellos or ellas aron, él, ella or usted o. So back to the left side, you see haste, o, hamos, aron. That's the AR ending past tense, okay? ER and IR to the right, you see iste, yo, imos, hieron. Notice that you don't see emos. That's because when you're referring to we in the past tense, you're going to just use emos for both ER and IR verbs, okay? They pretty much share the same endings for all conjugations. So let's go ahead and look at some examples. Here you see hablar, which is to speak, but I put in parentheses spoke or talked because that's pretty much the past tense of it, okay? So you have hablé, I spoke. Hablaste, you spoke. Habló, he or she spoke. Hablamos, we spoke. Hablaron, they spoke. Notice I'm pairing the endings up with the pronoun that you see on the right hand side. Okay? So yo is I in Spanish, right? So hablé, yo hablé, I spoke. Make sure you're pairing it up like that. Just rewind if you're a little confused. So go up under, you see trabajar, which is to work. I put in parentheses worked. So trabajé, I worked. Trabajaste, you worked. Trabajó, he or she worked. Trabajamos, we worked. Trabajaron, You notice that trabajamos is the same in present and past tense, okay? So if you say trabajamos juntos, obviously that's we work together. If you say trabajamos ayer, that's going to be we worked yesterday. It's the same conjugation, okay? Now, take a look at this. When I say trabajo, I'm making an accent. I'm putting emphasis on the O. Whatever has an accent over it, you want to put emphasis on it. So, trabajé, I worked. Trabajó, él trabajó, he worked. Okay, let's look at caminar, which is to walk. Here we have walked because that's the past tense. I walked. Yo caminé, you walked. Tú caminaste, he or she walked. Caminó, él caminó or ella caminó. Caminamos, we walked. Caminaron, they walked. And here you have the ER and IR past tense because they share the same ending. So comer, which is to eat, I put in parentheses ate because it's past tense. Comí, I ate. Comiste, you ate. Comió, he or she ate. Comimos, we ate. Comieron, they ate. Vivir, to live, it's past tense, so it's in parentheses for lived. Viví, I lived. Viviste, you lived. Vivió, he or she lived. Vivimos, we lived. Vivieron, they lived. Escribir, to write. In parentheses, wrote because it's past tense. Escribí, I wrote. Escribiste, you wrote. Escribió, he or she wrote. Escribimos, we wrote. Escribieron, they wrote. Okay, I hope you all are seeing this pattern here. It gets really easy once you master these. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some examples. We're just going to mix and match here. We're going to use the AR, ER, and IR past tense example sentences or sentence examples. Hablé con mi mamá. I spoke with my mom. Él escribió una carta. He wrote a letter. Ellos caminaron anoche. They walked last night. Trabajé mucho ayer. I worked a lot yesterday. ¿Comprendiste todo? Did you understand everything? Or you understood everything? Actually, comprender is comprehend, but you can also use it as understand. Because when you think about it in English, did you comprehend that? It's the same thing as did you understand that? But yes, there is a separate verb for to understand, and that's entender. We'll get into that when we start discussing the irregular verbs. But try to build sentences like this. Now you know how to conjugate most commonly used verbs in the present and past tense. So I want you all to build sentences at home, practice writing your journal, and just conjugate in the present and past tense. You're almost halfway there. Use voice recorders. Practice asking yourself questions in Spanish and responding to yourself in Spanish. Okay, so for example, record yourself saying, ¿comprendiste mucho? Did you comprehend a lot? And you respond to yourself, sí, yo comprendí mucho. So that's how you're going to practice with your voice recorders, you all. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me. That concludes this week 10 Spanish video lesson. And I will see you all next week for week 11. Adios.